My name is Elizabeth Hansen, and I'm here to talk to you about equine therapy. This statistic may not have hit you as hard as it hit me, but when I first saw it, I was floored. Almost 2 out of every 10 people in this country deal with the same insecurities and stress that I do daily, and I still don't know whether this is comforting or horrifying, probably both. What I do know is that living with anxiety can be as crippling as any physical disease. But my mental health journey started in middle school, when all of a sudden I was thrown into the world of deadlines, pushy adults, and about 6 times as many kids as I was used to being around. And the kids can be really mean. Because of a concoction of self-esteem issues, the new workload of a brand new school, and a multitude of issues stemming from home, I discovered new meaning in 3 words: anxiety, depression, and hate. I hated school, the people around me, and most of all myself. Things went downhill pretty quickly from here, as you can imagine. Then I started volunteering with rescue horses and animals once a week. So these are some of the animals that I used to work with. Most of them have gone to their homes. So this tiny change in my life completely changed its trajectory, and I found eventually that by volunteering and doing something I loved, my entire outlook on things started to change. Before I finish my story, I'm going to talk a bit about my essential question and how it's relevant. When I started this project, I asked myself, how does equine therapy affect mental health? I already knew it was effective from my own experiences working with abused and scared horses, but I didn't know how. I started to do some research, and from one of my sources, I found a story about a woman who had lost her job. She was frustrated and was struggling to find another one, and she enrolled in an EAP program. The woman who directed the program said, we were literally walking in a circle. Pretty soon the client said, this is sort of stupid. Why are we walking in a circle? Is this what EAP is? Is Harmony always doing this? I go, no, she has never done this. Is there anything in your life that makes you sort of feel like you're walking in a circle? She starts to cry because she is going in circles in her life and not progressing towards her goals. After the woman realized this, she changed how she was searching for a job, and within 3 weeks, she found one. Equine therapy is also used in rehabilitation centers. Newport Academy, a rehab center for teens, uses EAP and the rehab programs to help the kids gain confidence, build trust, and form healthier boundaries. And in yet another example, one woman had severe depression and abused drugs to the point of trying to overdose. This all came from a sexual assault at the age of 12. She started riding, got a horse, and was able to become sober and got out of the deep depression that she was in. All of the people involved in these stories and examples improved their quality of life and reduced their symptoms of their mental disorders simply by doing something they like to do, working with horses. So what is the connecting factor that makes equine therapy so effective? A huge part of what I found was that horses can reflect our subconscious. I know it sounds a little crazy, and it sounded a little weird to me first too, but the more I thought about it, the more it sounded like to make complete sense. From the moment you start working with horses, you're told that you have to stay calm because if your energy rises, so will theirs, and then you'll have an uncontrollable 1,000-pound animal in your hands, and you really don't want that. This teaches valuable coping skills because it gives you no choice but to figure out how to keep yourself calm. The woman who lost her job realized that she had to change her trajectory in order to move forward because the horse had picked up on her subconscious thoughts of going in circles and projected that and literally moving in circles. The woman who had a history of drug abuse talked about how she had to be calm around the horse in order for her to learn how to trust her. As long as she practiced being calm around her horse, progress would be made, and that would encourage her to keep going. So I came to the conclusion that horses mainly help us in 2 ways. They force people to look deeper into why exactly things are or aren't happening. And they also require an immense amount of practice in areas that are hard for some of us, like self-control, patience, and tranquility. By forcing us to use these underdeveloped skills, we learn faster and are able to use what we learned from the horses out in the real world. I spent my hours for this project working with my own horse, Maisie. That's her up there. That's me riding her in the second picture. So I wanted to see if I could be really mindful and pull these lessons out and analyze them after I was working with her. What ended up happening was after spending 3 days a week with her consistently, both her behavior and my mental health drastically improved. One thing that ended up happening really often was Maisie would start to act up about something that didn't really usually bother her. When that happened, I was forced to stand back, take a deep breath, and really think about what was going on, not with her, but with me. Usually I would realize that I was tense. My energy level and anxiety were higher than they should have been. Maisie picked up on that and started to act up because I wasn't calm, and that made her feel unsafe. I had to sit down or just stand there for a minute, taking deep breaths, to make sure my heart rate wasn't high and I wasn't going to make Maisie nervous. After I took a second to calm down, we were both ready to start again and there was no problem. Working with her has definitely helped me improve my coping skills, and I've been consistently handling stressful situations better than I had been before. To be completely honest, a presentation like this would not have been possible for me a couple years ago. As you can tell, I'm struggling a bit. Volunteering has been so good for me, and I want people to know that it's not hopeless, and you can find something that is just as therapeutic to add meaning to your life. Working with rescue horses might seem like a pretty small change, but really it's the small changes that make a difference. What I really want you to get out of this is that having anxiety is not a death sentence. It doesn't mean that your life has to be limited. Anxiety is so common that according to the American Psychological Association, anxiety has increased so much that typical school children during the 1980s reported more anxiety than child psychiatric patients during the 50s, which is kind of crazy. So if you struggle with anxiety, you are not alone. Mental health is so stigmatized that people are afraid to speak out about it, but that only makes it worse. Finding solutions may seem like an impossible task, but I hope I have proved it is not. And let's not confine these solutions to just equine therapy. Healing can be found anywhere. It can be found in reading a book, fixing cars, doing anything else that requires you to push your boundaries, have self-control, or make you reflect inwards on why things aren't going the right way. To finish, I want to share a quote that I found when I was reading a book for my research. Take a deep breath. Keep your body fully in the present and your mind in the recent future. Don't let the past get in your way. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Elizabeth?
Adam?
So you said that like when you first started working with her, she was like really nervous all the time, and because you said that you were a lot of the time. So when you was she just like naturally less nervous as you were naturally less nervous?
Typically, yeah. I mean, she had some struggles herself because horses obviously are animals as well, and they have anxiety about things too, but for the most part, when I started to calm myself down, she also calmed down.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thank you.